Well, it's almost 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, March the 12th, and I'm here. My coffee just finished. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee for the road and a donut, and I'm on my way out of here. That's not my normal breakfast. I'll be stopping along the way as I make my way to Annapolis, Maryland, of course, the state capital, a couple of hours from here in this kind of morning traffic. And I'm going to Annapolis for a very important reason, and that is to meet with a strategy working group at the state capitol. This is a coalition of community leaders, religious leaders, state, social, and civic leaders, as well as legislators from Maryland, who are working together to preserve traditional marriage in that state, just as it has happened in several other states now. There's a move on to change the law in the state of Maryland to allow for the granting of marriage licenses and marriage privileges to same-sex couples, men marrying men, women marrying women. And my job today is to meet with this coalition and to help them to develop a rationale for preserving traditional marriage as exclusively for a man and a woman, one man and one woman in monogamous union in the state of Maryland. This is important because Maryland, of course, is so close to the United States Capitol. It has, in many ways, a great influence over the thinking in Washington. So that makes it important. But also, of course, marriage is handled right now exclusively at the state level. So it's very important that we work to preserve marriage in the states. Several have already fallen and are now allowing for same-sex marriage and same-sex unions. That is paving the way, there's no question about it, for a Supreme Court case in the future that could change the definition of marriage throughout our culture. And again, today, my point is simply to give the language and the rationale and apologia, if you will, to use an arcane term from theology and moral, ethical philosophy, a good reason, to present a good reason. And, you know, in these kinds of instances, you have to be, as Jesus said, wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, and present both a secular, non-religious argument, and there is plenty there to be offered, as well as a religious argument. And especially in Maryland, you have very strong churches. It's in many ways a churched state. It has a large African American population. I teach at a very large African American church outside Baltimore, Maryland. And the African American church is very strong on this point, that marriage is reserved for one man and one woman. And we're going to make that case today. So would you pray for me? I'm going to be meeting with some very wonderful people, but it's quite a stiff challenge. I'll be in the strategy working group, then in a hearing, and I think today a legislative session, all at the state capitol in Annapolis, Maryland. And this is part of our state-by-state strategy. You recall that last year we announced our state-by-state strategy, going out to the state courts and to the state legislatures and the state executives, the governors and so on, the administrations of the states, because a lot of these matters are handled by the states, as is the case with marriage. And more of the big moral issues are being driven to the state level, and the Supreme Court, even under the new Chief Justice, John Roberts, is steering things back to the states. So very important day today, very important day of ministry. I see it as my prophetic ministry to the nation, and we're going to be doing this in many more state capitals. So please pray for us as we do, and we'll be praying for you today, and I'll check in with you again here in a day or two. I'll let you know what happens. Okay, God bless. Bye.